for I walk in this world. Good Friday morning. Hope that this is shaping up to be a great day for you. I hope you've had a great week this week as it comes to an end and you head into a great weekend this weekend. I hope it's just been full of blessings for you. As always, it's Friday morning, and so we're going to share together another song and story this morning. And so let me just get started with that this morning. See, it was a misconception that was frequently told in connection with Miss Charlotte Elliott's hymn, a hymn that begins with the words, "Just as I am, without one plea." That Miss Elliott owed her conversion to the Reverend Dr. Caesar Millan is an undisputed claim. It's related that he ventured to ask her some question as to her spiritual state, which she then deeply resented, but that some weeks later she went to him and told him that she now had the earnest desire to really be a Christian, and asked him to tell her how to come to Christ, adding that she supposed that she would first have to try to make herself worthy of him, to which Dr. Millan replied, "Come to him just as you are." Now, to this experience, naturally enough, has been ascribed the writing of the hymn, the words, "Just as I am," which begin every particular verse of the hymn, appearing to be the repetition of the truth that she learned that day from Dr. Millan. Quite possibly, the words of Dr. Millan did recur to her, and so become the refrain of the hymn, but the actual occasion of the writing of the hymn was very different, as related by Dr. Moule, the late Bishop of Durham, and a relative of the Elliott family. Miss Elliott's brother, the Reverend H.V. Elliott, was planning the erection of St. Mary's at Brighton as a school for the daughters of clergymen, and it was decided, to hold a bazaar to aid in the funding of this building. Miss Elliott was then 45 years of age, and she was suffering very deeply with ill health, so that while the Westfield Lodge, which was her home at Brighton, was all astir with preparations of the bazaar and getting things ready, she herself, Miss Elliott, was able to do nothing because of her health. And the night before the event, the thought of her uselessness kept her awake in sorrow until she began to question the reality of the whole of her own spiritual life. And so the next day, the busy day of the bazaar, when all the rest of the family were gone, leaving Miss Elliott lying on the sofa in great weakness, these doubts and fears returned with a fresh force in her mind, and she felt as though she must fight out this battle once and for all. And so, gathering up the great truths which were the foundation of her faith, her Lord, His love, His power, and His promises, she took pen and paper from the table, and she set down as the definite expression of her hope and salvation, and for her own comfort, those wonderful lines beginning, "Just as I am, without one plea, but that thy blood was shed for me, and that thou bidst me come to thee, O Lamb of God, I come." And what a new light these particular circumstances shed on such words, particularly words of those of the third verse, "Just as I am, though tossed about with many a conflict, many a doubt, fightings within and fears without, O Lamb of God, I come." After a while, her sister-in-law came in to tell her of the progress of the bazaar, and after reading the hymn, asked, as anyone would think someone would, ask for a copy. And so it stole out from that quiet room of suffering to bring its message to thousands and to be told of untold blessing to the world. No wonder that the Reverend H.V. Elliott wrote in after years, he wrote, "In the course of a long ministry, I hope I have been permitted to see some fruit of my labors, but I feel far more has been done by this single hymn of my sisters." And that is the story of the writing of Just As I Am, and the deep, profound truths there, and the deep, profound meaning and circumstances from where it was written, but has brought so much comfort to so many of us. And a lot of us would probably put this particular hymn in our top 5 or 10 songs that we like to sing to the Lord. Just as I am. Just as I am, without one plea, but that thy blood was shed for me, and that thou bidst me come to thee, O Lamb of God, I come, I come. Just as I am, though tossed about with many a conflict, many a doubt, fighting and fears within, without, O Lamb of God, I come, I come. Just as I am, and waiting not to rid my soul of one dark blot, to thee whose blood can cleanse each spot, O Lamb of God, I come, I come. Hope this has been interesting and uplifting for you. Hope it's been encouraging for you. I enjoy reading about these stories and where they came from and who wrote them and why, and most importantly, about their relationship with God as they wrote these words that continue to bless us today. Love you guys. Look forward to seeing you the next time we're together, and I hope you have a great weekend.
They resound with God's own heart. Oh, let the ancient words impart words of life, words of hope.